Welcome to Dark Heresy, Felonies of Faith, our fifth session of the mini missions for Ascension. And tonight is the big one. That's probably going to end up being a 2 or possibly even 3-parter for Engine Seer Krios. Now, Fungi, just to confirm, that is the entirety of his name at this point?
Pretty much.
Well, it's about to be shortened. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
A bitch. I imagine at some point he had an actual first name and surname, but when he became part of the Mechanicum, it says, yeah, your designation is just Krios.
Well, he's no longer going to be officially a Engine Seer. For after the events on Zizbeth, there was a meeting between Krios and the Blank Inquisitor Narodka. And during that meeting, Naraka explained that he was very proud to have the opportunity to shake Krios's hand, but he must apologize to Krios because the Mechanicus has made it clear that they want Krios back. Apparently, the mission reports have filtered their way through the Adeptus Mechanicus, and there's some really upset. Well, upset might not be the most accurate term, considering a lot of them are emotionless. What word then would I use? A lot of red flags have been raised for Krios's activities. And ultimately, it has been determined that the closest location that is solely under the jurisdiction and control of the Mechanicus is on a little planet called Mogus, which is, I believe, Krios had some knowledge on that, did he not?
The name doesn't ring a bell to me, so if I do, a wheeling character sheet, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead and do a roll.
First roll of the night. Let's see how it's going to go.
All right. So, since you are a very knowledgeable individual, Krios, you are aware that this is a planet in the same subsector which you are currently in, known as Sep Medius. And it is actually very, very close. Zizbeth... I'm hearing a lot of...
Oh, sorry, that was me.
Okay. It is a... How many light years is that? That's at 62. Oh, no, wait, sorry. So that's at 39, and that's at 45. So roughly 6 to 10 light years away, which, considering the size of this sector of space, is hardly far at all. It's actually about the same distance, I think, as Earth to the next closest sun.
Huh. Fair enough.
And Mogus, most of the details are confidential, so you are not aware of all of that wonderful juiciness. But it is a feral world, and it has been named after the individual who they made first contact with. There is basically feral human beings on this world. They're at a Bronze Age level of technology, and the Greater Imperium is interested on the planet because there is apparently an abhuman deviation from the human genome there that the Mechanicus is presently examining to determine whether or not it is viable for use within the Imperium, or if it is a full-blown mutant and therefore must be eradicated. No comment on that?
No, I thought we were still expositioning.
Oh, no. I was just giving a pause to see if there was any sort of additional information. But the facility on this planet is run by a particular Magos who goes by the designation of Upsilon Delta Beta, or WDB for those who are not of the Mechanicus. We'll just call them WDB ourselves because saying Epsilon Delta Beta numerous times throughout the night will probably get a little grating.
A real bitch.
And give me another roll, please, Krios, just to see if you've heard of this particular Magos before. Oh my!
I do know this guy.
You've worked under this guy before he took over at this facility, and he's a real stickler for precision.
Oh joy!
Presently, the efforts of analysis of this abhuman species have dragged on for significantly longer than the original plan, because this particular Magos wants to eliminate a margin of error of 0.0001%. And Krios, I'm just going to say you're automatically going to succeed on this logic roll. At that point, when you're dealing with a biological entity, and you're continuously doing study after study after study, your margin of error is actually going to extend and increase at a certain point, because you're dealing with a study group, or no, what's the proper word?
Control group? Control
group, yeah, something along those lines, that is biological and therefore constantly changing. So this Magos's obscene obsession with making sure that the margin of error is eliminated means that the work is never going to get finished.
It's not like this is unexpected, but I already hate this guy.
Fantastic. And so the Inquisition, the particular Inquisitor anyways, explains to Krios that he's being sent here because the Mechanicus wants Krios back, and they want to have words with Krios. They're probably going to want to do some other things to Krios too, and as I recall, Krios wasn't too happy about this, was he?
No. Kind of expecting it, but to say I'm happy with it would be incredibly overly masochistic.
Delightful. And so the Inquisitor explains that, well, let's see if I still have that in my chat log. Oh, boy, that's totally the wrong place in my chat log. Let's fix that. There we go. So the... Oh, God damn it, fucking ball sacks. There we are. Krios is not being sent back to the Mechanicus because he's expected to serve the machine cult. Krios is being sent back to the Mechanicus so that the rest of the Imperium does not suffer. Basically, the Inquisitor is of the mind that the machine cult is so interested in getting their hands on Krios again that to deny them Krios would serve to harm the rest of the Quitus Rubar sector of space, as it wouldn't necessarily start a war with the Mechanicus, but for a bunch of emotionless robot men, they can be very obsessive about particular objectives.
Glorious.
Like Russia?
Like Henry.
Oh my. And I think I might have accidentally just deleted our chat log. Am I stupid or what? Seems I did. I am stupid. So, yeah, that was very dumb of me. In any event, so the planet is Mogus. It is a research facility. I had a name for it, but I just deleted it with my chat log. Bravo me. And I haven't actually finished statting out the map, but Krios, when you're brought here, you will officially be stripped of the rank of engineer. No comment on that?
No.
Okay. And I'm just trying to think between Fungi and Jess, would it ever be appropriate this is a Mechanicus facility, so bear in mind pretty much everyone here is Mechanicus already, other than the research subjects. It is a divine crime, basically, to look upon a tech priest below his red robes. But since Krios is no longer being afforded the title and rank, would they strip him of his red robes?
It depends on how
I would
fervorously,
think so,
logically angry they are.
I would think so, since they are, they are sacred robes of this. It's their religion. So somebody who they deem, bad and unworthy wearing them, it would kind of be sort of heresy. So probably they would disrobe him.
I think replacing them with a different color is a good, idea.
All right, so they'll force Krios into some ratty gray robes.
He seems more comfortable in them.
Oh my! The facility has some Crimson Guard soldiers, basically Skitari, who keep everything defended and are also essentially the police of the facility. So they'll be the ones escorting Krios around with combat servitors. And basically, he will be brought forth before a sort of tribunal. And the bigwigs of the facility will be present, including WDB. And let's start with, let's go clockwise. So, Abobob?
Faraday Boyle, largest prime of this installation.
And description of appearance?
Elderly. Proud, maybe a little bit older than what the token shows. Similar mods. Hair is a bunch of cables and stuff going into his vein. Constantly has a pretty much he's just constantly getting information feedback throughout the station of various things going on, and is in constant contact with external communications. So you see pretty much a bunch of those little scroll reading thingies you see on Tech Priest sometimes in Adepts, constantly going off that he's constantly checking.
Autoquill,
yeah. He's got like 3 or 4 of those constantly going.
Okay. Next up, pin 092840.2B17. Jess, did you have something typed out for this? Seems she may be typing it out right now. So as she's typing, I suppose we should move on to Constantine Revictus Helvitica 082. So Dragon Scale armor.
Imagine if I had real weapon.
Eye lenses.
Okay. And what sort of weapon would he have? Because he is the leader of the Crimson Guard at this facility.
Nice.
Okay.
What's she called?
The
Brutus. I like your salsa. I like your style.
The multi-metal melta. Okay. Victor Karchev.
Victor Karchev, calibration coordinator, engineer. And his job is to basically calibrate the machines, keep them going, but the standards of the WDB, and basically he's not the maintenance per se, but he keeps them going, and so they keep their proper standards that the results are accurate. And he has 3 megadendrites. 2 smaller ones, slender ones, so he can get inside the machines and calibrate, and 1 a little bit bigger for heavy-duty jobs.
And back to Jess's. Pin is very large and almost totally mechanical. Even her arms have been replaced with large cable mechadendrites. If you were to guess, you'd almost think she was a servitor under those robes. She towers over most around her, and her glowing cluster of eyes never waver. In fact, she either looks with an optical mechadendrite or has to turn her entire frame to face people. The token is accurate for her face. Her job is essentially grand foreman for the work at the station. So where Frosty's engine seer is in charge of maintaining the lab equipment, Pin, Jess's engine seer, is in charge of the toilets, the doors, the lights, all of the more mundane things at the lab.
Doors, power.
Yeah. And she's the one in charge of it. She's not the one who necessarily gets dirty, but she's the one who orchestrates controlling all the servitors and all the lesser engine seers to make sure all that repairs and maintenance go according to schedule. And then finally, an NPC, Triepsil 523 Rodka, which is the biologist Genitor Prime, and is the one in charge of actually conducting the studies on the abhumans present on this world. Also, I should have described this earlier. Actually, you never really would have got a chance to see the planet Krios, but based on the knowledge you have of the planet from your rather nice rolls earlier, it is a almost entirely barren world. The amount of vegetation is very limited. How humans manage to survive on this world is rather remarkable. They have gone quite feral, however, and there is a majority of the population who are baseline humans, but kind of devolved, you could say. Very savage, feral individuals, but they're Bronze Age, so they do trade, they do try to do farming, but most of their food is scavenging or hunting, and they do have, you won't know the details of the abhuman species on the planet, but as you're being brought through the facility, I imagine you'd catch a glimpse of one or two. And I'm going to make one visible for you. If you look above Upsilon Delta Beta.
Actually,
that's a werewolf.
And,
Well, why do you,
Reasons.
Now, they might be under the effects of some kind of drug or something. They don't seem savage, while their expressions and their face structure makes it look like they're constantly grimacing and ready to bite. Their movement is very somber and slow. So either they've been drugged or they are just naturally look intimidating but aren't actually scary if you get to know them. It's hard to say for sure. Since most of them are in laboratories right now, you haven't really had anything to compare it to. One final item is in this facility, there is a section which is basically the Mechanicus has permitted the natives to live within the gates of the facility in a small kind of community area because they have usefulness as being potential servitor meat. So the Mechanicus allows these people to kind of live in a cloistered area. These are the regular humans, by the way, not the abhumans. So in this cloistered area, there's like a marketplace. It's a little bit of civilization in an otherwise savage world. So, any questions so far about the world or about the Mechanicus who are here?
So you say Bronze Age. So am I to imagine like kind of like a zero, like the year zero kind of tech, or more medieval?
Pre-medieval. This is like even before Rome kind of thing.
Okay, so like maybe Europe, like northwestern Europe, while the Romans were around, like in their heyday.
Egyptians?
Yeah, about no, not Egyptians. Yeah, I think,
Like the
like
Britons
the,
and Gauls and the
yes,
the Visigoths and all that.
yeah. So like Vikings, but not quite the same culture.
When I picture Bronze Age, I picture like ancient Egyptian, so like the
But we're not saying the Middle Eastern Bronze Age. We're seeing the Northern Bronze Age.
Okay.
So they do have like swords and rudimentary armor and pots and pans, but it's very crude by comparison to our modern expectations. But it's functional for them, and it allows them limited agricultural abilities. But again, since the world is so inhospitable, they have to resort to predominantly scavenging, trading, and hunting to survive. And naturally, those who are in the gated community of the Mechanicus have had some more technological advantages than those who are stuck outside. The facility is quite large, and while Krios didn't get a chance to really examine it on the way in, give me a roll, Krios, to see if you recognize the internal components. All right, you're not 100% sure, but something about this facility feels like you're walking inside a very, very, very large Lehman Russ at times.
Mm-hmm.
Like larger than Baneblade large.
Like, are we talking just scaled up, or the same sort of tech on a larger scale?
We're talking like you recognize some components that have been, not in use for a very long time, like engine blocks or movement servos.
In the building?
Inside the building, through some of the corridors. Like there are main corridors that feel like spacious rooms inside a fortress. But off to the side, down some of the hallways, you kind of recognize components that you'd see very large scale from inside of a Lehman Russ equivalent, sort of. You know what I'm hinting at?
Kind of.
All right, but yes, they have plumbing. So when Krios is brought before the semi-triumvirate, WDB would speak in the Mechanicus voice with the Mechanicus speech patterns, which I don't know if I'm going to actually be able to pull off, but here, let me give it an attempt. Individual designated Krios, previously Engineer Krios, has been brought to facility on Mogus for examination and determination of value to Mechanicus after declaration of heretical I don't want to say life choices, heretical activities. Proceeding in examination of value of Krios, Faraday Boyle, Logis Prime, and Viktor Krachev, Calibration Coordinator, Engine Seer. Observing events shall be Tri-Epsilon 523 Vodka, Biologist Genitor Prime, PIN 092840.2B17, Facility Operations Coordinator Engine Seer, and for security purposes, Constantine Revictus Helvetius 082 Cyrilius Prime. Charges include lack of proper ritualized respect for divine machine spirits, numerous incident reports of all recorded work placement positions, providing secret knowledge of tech rituals to uninitiated Imperial persons, numerous incidents to members of Imperial Guard of Quipus Ruborian Dragoon Regiment, providing instruction to uninitiated Imperial persons, which has not been approved for use, variable power settings of las weapons to members of Imperial Guard, providing non-officiated tech support to Imperial persons, repair and maintenance of devices not approved by Superior Mechanicus hierarchy, dereliction of sacred duty, did not complete objective of properly detonating explosive device on celestial heaven to ensure the destruction of heretical tech, allowing non-Mechanicus individual to operate sacred machine devices, subject known as Haley Daslas, allowing heretical tech to remain in the possession of dangerous Imperial persons, Taspin Meneglus device in hands of Cerberus Tosset, acquisition of heretical data, details redacted, unsanctioned modification of divine machine spirits, Las Cannon codenamed Henry, unsanctioned modification of physical form of divine standard template product, Las Cannon codenamed Henry, unsanctioned use of unsanctioned device, Las Cannon codenamed Henry, accessing and repair of sacred machine designated by Magos of Mechanicus as not to be touched, vehicle repair platform deployed at Zeisbeth Capital, theft and unsanctioned use of Imperial war machine, Lehman Russ battle tank on planet Zeisbeth, unsanctioned redistribution of Imperial war machine, Lehman Russ battle tank on planet Zeisbeth, unsanctioned use of planetary communications network, numerous incidents on planet Zeisbeth, unsanctioned interfering and improper use of unsanctioned interfacing and improper use of Imperial noble vehicle on planet Zeisbeth, contact with heretical devices, potentially true thinking machines on planet Zeisbeth, accomplice to unsanctioned modifications to tech priest, Krios, acquisition and use of implants not deemed appropriate to rank, Engine Seer, Krios, acquisition and use of divine tech relics without proper authorization, numerous incidents, accomplice to psychic witchcraft which severely damaged divine machine spirits and tech relics on planet Zeisbeth, major infraction, permitted unsanctioned Imperial persons to attempt to interface or acquire suspected archaeotech device that was ultimately destroyed by Krios' failure to safeguard the Mechanicus divine mandate as detailed by universal laws. Proceedings will begin after maintenance to facility. Dismissed.
Well, I'm not expecting that.
Something to bear in mind about WDB, he's very by the clock. So this whole trial interrupts a lot of the day-to-day activities that are expected at this facility. So basically he's squeezing you in during free time.
Yes. Is this maintenance that is expected to take, say, months to complete?
Maybe you should ask.
I don't feel now is the right time.
Well, as the Magos departs, I'm going to state that Wagga has some work that has to get done. The rest of you just get to decide out of character whether you think your characters have some very specific work you need to do, or if you have a chance right now to spend some time with Krios.
I pretty much Faraday can do whatever his job from wherever in the station he is.
There's no
Frosty?
mercy.
Well, after all, Joe, you are actually the one who's going to always be with Krios.
Mhm.
Well, I probably should at least
Introduce
Sure.
yourself.
introduce myself since I am the defender, so to say. What's the proper...
Defense attorney.
Yes.
You're on my side. Sorry, I'll wait.
No, I'm not on your side. I've been appointed as your defense attorney, and I have to try to defend you. I'm not on your side. It's just
I am.
my given task.
I'm genuinely surprised.
To be fair, he's not defending Krios. He's defending something Krios has. So Pin looms in corner of room staring at Krios, perhaps. Makes whirring and venting noises.
Well, to perhaps speed this on a bit, Krios understands that the Mechanicus probably do small talk. So, for the time being, he is just staying quiet and cooperating. Because he doesn't really... Well, has Victor just introduced himself as so-called defense?
Yeah, he would come and introduce himself as his circle defense.
So what is your role to be in this affair?
My job is to try to defend your, what would be the proper term here? Rights.
And once again, that's out of character. I am once again surprised. And how long is this adjournment?
Proceeding?
Is that a word? How long is this break in the proceeding expected to be?
Would my character know?
Sorry, I'm just doing the conversion from real time to Mechanicus time.
Oh God!
I'll give it to you in both, but I just want to get there it is. Okay, so 1 decicycle, which is about 3.5 hours.
So
I
cycle
would
is 7
inform.
hours.
2.5.
3.5.
So a cycle is 7 hours then.
No,
Dessa is half. No, is it?
a tenth,
No.
as in decimated.
Oh, so it's the 35 hours.
36.
Curious.
A cycle is 36 hours.
Oh, that makes sense. I assume that is acceptable. Is there any information you require of me before this begins, or are we to wait in silence?
How would I say this? Any information that would
Improve his odds.
improve his odds against these given accusations would be appropriate at this point. Otherwise, it's not suggested that if there's anything that they... if anything was missed, it shouldn't be brought up.
There are a few logical flaws in the crimes I noticed.
Explain.
Just trying to find them again. Give me a second.
Mm-hmm. But basically what
Yes, that's-
Victor is trying to say here is that if you have something that we missed, you probably shouldn't bring it up because then he is forced to bring it up.
Well, the logical flaw. This could be wrong, so out of character. Do tell me if I am, and I'll retract it. But a logical flaw I noticed was the apparent infraction for failing to destroy the Magnelius device, and then further the infraction of destroying the Magnelius device.
No, not the Magnalius device. The box that Vern exploded.
Oh, that fuck. Ignore that.
Yes.
I thought I had
Yeah.
something there.
Yeah, the Vern, that was the big one too, because the contents of that box were already recorded by the Mechanicus. They were trying to send somebody to go pick it up, and it got blowed to pieces because Krios let Vern touch it.
Nobody pinged Vern not to touch the box.
That's pretty much the only one of these infractions that I'm pissed off about.
So are you
No,
saying you agree with these infractions?
To an extent.
Is that in character or Bob? You have to be sure. We've been kind of flip-flopping between in character and not, so.
It depends if he can overhear the conversation those two are having.
Well, he is in the room, so
Yeah.
he should be able to hear them.
Yeah, that would be in character then.
Well, what was Spongy's bringing it up in character, though?
Oh.
Yeah, because I didn't, because that logical flaw I found actually isn't a thing, so I wouldn't have brought up any of the accused crimes. I think for now, I'll just be staying quiet.
If there is no further acquisitions of questions, I have to go and complete my duties. People.
We wait.
The stage is open for the others.
A tune seems incredibly unmechanically.
Tune starts to play quietly in the background under the sound of clicking, whirring, venting gas.
That's epic.
I think Jess might be losing her mind.
Or finding it. I'm just waiting for proceedings to happen.
I'm asking something to VT in private. Just got finished typing it.
Okay. Additionally, Joe, you are aware that one of your few duties as the Crimson Guard boss is coming soon, and that is the closing of the front gates for the wet season. And in fact, this is something I should tell everybody except Fungi, so I guess I'll copy
Can you speak for a second?
No, I'm just going to copy and paste it to everybody. But in the meantime, no one wants to chit-chat with Krios?
Well, not really. We're tech priests. Idle chit-chat is for losers. And humans.
Well, binary chatter. Losers, humans, what's the difference?
Yeah. I corrected myself.
Krios, give me just an intelligence roll. 31 brain. So there is something that wasn't listed on your list of horrific crimes that, logically speaking, you would have expected to be there. Krios's association with Trauma Cat. Nobody seemed to bring that up.
I was wondering about that.
Yes.
That is most curious.
So Faraday, not be disassembled, but yes, evaluated and examined.
That best not be Henry you're talking about. Oh. People are going to regret their decisions.
Well, Fungi, Krios might end up regretting his decision to have, made Henry, considering, well, we'll just have to wait and reveal that. But yes, the trauma cat issue. No mention of her yet. Is Krios going to change that?
No. Not for now, at least.
Okay. So then, Abobob, go ahead and do what you want to do to Krios.
Fired up and ready to serve.
Heretic Krios.
Oh, going for the jugular. He hasn't officially been declared a heretic yet.
According to the math of Faraday, there is a 99.999999999% chance of him being found guilty.
Making such an assumption with such a margin of error seems incredibly unscientific. Especially given the Magos in charge of this facility.
Yes.
Is this in character, Fungi?
Why not?
Okay.
You know, I am sure that you are aware of what my title entails and my duty.
Indeed.
Yes. I am the one who runs the numbers. I am the one who goes by what the great golden rules say and predict. You dare disagree with what the math says?
Simply state that making the judgment for the Magos has declared his rule may be preemptive. Or
I did not declare nothing. I just stipulate on that is your chance of being found guilty of your crimes.
you are more than welcome to state your expectations of this trial, though declaring them before they are officially stated may be incorrect. But I believe you are addressing me.
Yes. I am saying this aloud, that if it is, even if the extremely unlikely chance of you all being found innocent, you must be made aware that certain things you have brought to this station with you would not be allowed to leave.
I had anticipated that.
Yes. You are aware that includes the blasphemous device you refer to as Henry.
Curious smiles, though maybe a bit rather emotionlessly. Yes, I am aware of that.
I am currently having that examined and evaluated to see if your sacrilegious modifications to the STC. Oh, it is STC, right?
That's the machine that makes it. This is an STC product, basically.
Oh, okay, STC product of the platform and design of said whatever classification Henry was, as canon-wise. That if it is found to be too
tainted,
it will be destroyed upon this onto this thing.
Well, if it must be destroyed, so be it. I do hope the modifications I made may enlighten people, enlighten the Mechanicum to further improvements such a design may be given one day.
All right, little pause there, Krios. Were you not emotionally attached to Henry in character?
Oh, yes.
Then I think a willpower roll is to be called for.
But he's expecting this. Oh, well.
With your new increased willpower, I think I haven't actually updated your token. I'm sorry about that. It is technically a failure, but is only a base failure. So, at the very least, I'd say, Bob, give me a roll for your scrutiny.
Before you roll,
Oh, what's that?
I'd like to maybe suggest a modifier to my willpower for that, seeing as I delivered, in my opinion, quite the sick burn before this. I'm rather happy with myself right now.
Okay, fair enough, but nevertheless, Bob, I'd say, is entitled to a scrutiny.
Oh Jesus! Yeah,
yes.
you know everything.
Yes, you detect like elevated signs of certain emotion-based chemicals sort of radiating from Krios, because Krios did not take the rite of pure thought, which is a Mechanicus ritual where they chop out half your brain and replace it with a computer.
Ah. The
And
15th law
Krios
takes
is-
into effect.
Krios is still emotional like a human would be. And while he hides it, his body cannot hide the biochemical reactions that he is undertaking.
See, that laugh was not in character. Heretic Krios, you are aware of the 15th universal law, correct?
Yes, you would be aware of it. Let me get there is actually a list of universal laws. Let me just pull that up for you. Excuse me, Mechanicus, right. It helps if I actually put down that it's the Mechanicus universal laws rather than, real life universal laws. The link is going into Map Tools now. And number 15, flesh is fallible, but ritual honors the machine spirit.
I'm aware of this law.
Yes.
It's out of character. Did you say anything other than just, are you aware of the law?
Yes,
Gonna
well,
wait for you.
the insinuation is rather obvious, I'd say, that you are flesh and therefore you are fallible.
Would Krios' rank entitle him to that device that would separate the emotion from his brain?
He would have had the opportunity to have it as one of the many things he wasn't officially allowed to get, but it would have been on the table from Makaison's Inquisitor.
Yeah, it's the officialness I'm worried about. So is he officially allowed it?
Probably not.
I am in character. I am already under scrutiny for my inappropriate modifications I have made to myself. That will just be a further addition to that list. My rank does not allow me access to such a device to make obeying that law definitive.
Either as it may, you still rather strange attachment to such a tool.
Well, I'm sure.
Does raise some questions.
Doubtlessly. Though I'm sure, as you know, emotion is not voluntary. When one spends as much time with a single device as I have, one cannot help it, regrettable as it is. I would probably make a roll for deception there, because he does not think it's regrettable in the slightest.
Okay. You're not going to get the rational liar, by the way, in this case, because this is more of an emotional lie than. But I think that's actually still going to be a success because you've got plus 20 to your lying.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes, lying Krios is good at lying, although Faraday does have all those sensors and scanners that, well, in this case, Faraday is uncertain to the one specific aspect of Krios's lie. But his heightened emotional state is still, Krios's heightened emotional state is still flaring off in Faraday's sensors. It's just Faraday doesn't get an exact reading. It's just he's obviously emotional. He's obviously not pure like a machine.
As a bean counter, he is going to raise the issue Declaration of Security. Where's the one where he causes potential more damage to all the lad's guns?
The Logis Prime unit Faraday Boyle would be well to consider its own fleshed bits before making statements on others. I guess we know who Pin's supporting.
Pin is aware that I outrank her and
Pin's just saying that you've still got fleshy bits.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you compared to Pin, you're human, Bobo.
Yes. But these few fleshy bits I do have remain, since I do have to put at ease those of non-mechanicus that I do have to interact with.
Surely I could use that argument myself. After all, my role was an engineer within the Imperial Guard, working with entirely flesh unit soldiers. And after that, my role was to... Well, I'm not sure how many details are spread here, but I'm sure you already have the clearance to understand it, to essentially sabotage an Imperial vessel for the safety of information. Doing so as an entirely technological unit would prove incredibly troublesome.
And yet, while you were not a completely technological unit, as you say, you still failed in that duty.
I did. I am aware of my position in that team. I was sent there mainly to be taken out of the Mechanicum's hair. At the start of the mission, I was an incredibly lowly rank within this, and I was given the essentially fail-safe button. I am not sure Mechanicum expected anything of me other than to die.
Request definition to usage of term hair in previous statement, Mechanicum's hair.
I do apologize. It is a best unit turn of speech. The Mechanicum wanted me out of its way. Or at least my superiors wanted me out of their way.
Frosty, your character had already left, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tisk. Joe, well, everybody, have you received the message I sent you in TeamSpeak?
Yes.
My character has important calibrations to do. Don't you know what happens if the calibrations are not right? The goddamn scanning machine might malfunction and cause the humans to just burst into flames, or get cancer, or something else. You never know. That's why they need to be on spec.
Yeah, I'm also just going to quickly run to the loo and get a drink. So he's back in like 1 minute, so if we need to discuss things while we're here, now's a good time.
Okay, perfect. So, actually, Fungi's already gone, so... Oh, wait, Fungi's typing? Oh, headset off. Okay. All right, so, while Fungi's away, yes, every planetary year there is a wet season, which is an understatement. Basically, the entire area suffers a downpour of water, which is like a month-long waterfall. During this event, they batten down the hatches here at the facility for two reasons. One, to keep the water out, because it's being submerged under a waterfall. And two, and more importantly, the local abhumans go psychotic. And that's something that I had actually wanted to tell you all earlier, but I had forgot. These abhumans are being studied because something triggers them during the wet season that makes them superior shock troops, basically. Like, you could blow two of their limbs off and they'd keep coming. Somehow the circulatory system goes into haywire, hotwire.
Haywire.
Well, haywire, I think hotwire, like when you hotwire a car to get it to start, basically their circulatory system hotwires itself so that they become virtually unstoppable. But the other problem is they also go psychotic, like when it's not the wet season, you could potentially have a very limited, very simplistic conversation with one. They have a level of intellect on par with that of an Ogren from a feral world. During the wet season, however, they're more like corn cultists. Not that any of you know what a corn cultist is in character. That's just a comparison for you as players.
Basically, they are feral Eversource.
Yeah,
on wet season.
Yeah, during the wet season, if you gave these guys Eversaur implants, they would be incredible. Now, the thing is, the studies you're conducting here, all of your research has not yet uncovered an exact reason for why the wet season does this. Or, if it's is it the water? Is it the planet itself? Is it an alignment of gravitational fluxes? Now, something else that's been going on, and only recently, the last couple of years, is the wet season has been coming sooner than anticipated. However, because the WDB is such a stickler for very particular, regimented, and precise rituals, it's getting to the point where the wet season's probably going to wind up getting here before the proper battening down of the hatches has actually occurred.
Okay.
Interesting.
My character would be aware of this, right?
Yes.
General.
Sorry, go ahead.
Trying to think if I should roll for this or just do my job.
It's up to you. How loyal is your character to obeying the hierarchy?
He's gonna close the doors early.
He is or isn't?
Is.
Okay, so how early? Like as soon as the rain starts, or before the rain starts, or right after the rain starts?
Once it's predicted to basically be about to begin, with enough sufficient time to get them closed.
Sorry, Joe, you are really quiet, like you're talking like 10 meters away from your mic.
I hate this thing. Slightly before the rains begin, basically, like, when they say, okay, this is about to start, whenever, and go do it with, like, has sufficient time to get them all closed.
So he tried to be working, behind the Magos' back to get things prepared ahead of time?
Yes.
Okay, and then you're going to have to give me a roll to see if you can pull off working behind the Magos' back without the Magos finding out. And to that end, you will actually... oh boy. All right, so Pin, are you going to cooperate with Costi? He wants to close the doors early. It's your duty to ensure the doors are in working order and that, the proper ritual checklist has been followed to ensure the doors are in operating order. Your checklists are not complete. He wants to close the door before your checklists are complete.
Beep boop, no can do, Bob.
No, schedule must be maintained. As a matter of fact, we have timetables to work at proper rate. Doors should not be closed at present time. Okay. Although, Bob, your character would also be aware that the Solaris Prime is basically moving above his station, trying to organize defenses of this facility that have not been sanctified or authorized by the Magos. Will you report this to the Magos?
Nope, as long as it doesn't interfere with the basic numbers of the facility.
Oh, it does. Closing these doors without following the proper schedules, like energy consumptions will be all out of whack. I mean, this energy has been allocated for this lab at this time, and all of a sudden they're drawing on energy to try and close the door? Well, that could totally ruin their plans for the research in the lab at this time.
Then yeah, his loyalty goes as long as the status quo and the numbers make sense. My job is to try to make sure this facility is one with the least amount of resources spent as possible. That is my duty.
Okay. Basically, as soon as we get back, all of this has been going on basically through binary chatter, through microbeats, all of these discussions and whatnot. So once we get back, we can let Krios back in, so Fungi can come back. You missed an apostrophe.
Yes.
Welcome back.
And I'm splitting the recording now.
Oh, god damn it.